It is 1:30 on Monday, August 26, 2024, and I'll call the Land Bank meeting to order. Delaware County Land Reutilization Corporation, also known as the Land Bank. All our board members are here. That's good. Scott Gordon, our attorney. Brandy's going to run the meeting today. Sandra, I want to welcome you officially.
Thank you.
First meeting as a full voted member. So thank you, and anxious to continue the work we've done in Delaware City. So I want to welcome you. We got a fairly long agenda, but I don't think any one of the topics are going to take all that long. So we'll start with, first item is the approval of the electronic recording of proceedings and minutes from the May 14th, 2024 meeting, our last meeting. Just for those of you who don't know, we record the meetings electronically, and we do prepare written minutes of all the board actions. So there is a one page of actions and then electronically recorded minutes. So anyway, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes unless someone has a comments, changes, or anything.
Move to
No.
approve?
Okay, motion, here a second.
I'll second.
Okay, Michelle second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, the motion carries. The minutes are approved. Next, we go to the treasurer's report. Turn it over to Commissioner Merrill.
Our balance end of July, which is in your packet, is $230,481.91. We did pay 3 checks in the month of June in the amount of $166,983.91. It's also in your packet, and we will need to approve checks today to CEC in the amount of $733.88, City of Delaware in the amount of $792, $775, $1,978, and Scott Gordon for $1,237.50, and the state auditor $241.90. So, and that's my report. And
Okay, let's approve. Any comments on the treasurer's report at this point? Let's approve the treasurer's report, and then we'll approve the invoices separately. A motion for the treasurer to accept the treasurer's report?
as treasurer, I'll make that motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Dave. Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the treasurer's report is accepted. Now we'll go on to paying some of the bills. As Gary mentioned, we do have 4 invoices to pay. CEC has submitted an invoice of $733.88, but the tentative agreement was to not pay the 3%. So I would ask for a motion to approve the $712.50 for CEC. I think we can do these all in one motion. The 3 invoices from the City of Delaware total. You had that total, Gary? 5,000.
I do not have the
3,000.
total. The individual amounts were $792, $775, and $1978.
Okay, I do have it here somewhere. Yep, there it is. The total is $3,545. So $3,545 to the City of Delaware. Thank you, City of Delaware. Diane has done an outstanding job. Jerry Warner's has been helpful as well. I know he's been doing a little bit of work, but Diane's done most of it, and she's done an outstanding job. So $3,545 to the City of Delaware. Scott Gordon's invoice of $1,237.50, and then the state auditor's office is submitting an invoice. We got to pay those guys. They're here in attendance, so we got to make sure we take care of the state auditor. $241.90. So I would entertain a motion to approve all 4 of those, if that's acceptable.
Make motion we approve and pay the invoices as presented.
Okay. Is there a second?
A second.
Second, Sandra?
Yep.
Okay.
Second.
Got a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Same sign. All right. Speaking of the state auditors, we have a special guest here today from the state auditor's office. Mr. Scott Brown, who is, I'm not sure your exact title, Scott, but,
I'll read it off eventually.
all right.
And thank you for approving that. Helps our budget. I don't have to text the boss now to tell him you didn't approve the invoice. That's a great thing. No, I just thank you for allowing me a couple minutes to speak today. My name is Scott Brown, and I serve as the State Auditor's Central Ohio Liaison.
Okay.
Is what's on my business card. Our clients, such as yourselves, knows me as your customer service representative, and that is actually how State Auditor Faber will introduce me in public. So if you ever need anything from our office, I was gonna say, I hope I'm the first person you call, but sometimes that's not, that's not always the best thing. But it gives me great pleasure to be here today to award your organization the State Audit Award for your most recent 2023 audit. It's important to understand that this award puts your group in a pretty select company. The office awards or audits nearly 4,200 entities every year, and only 10% of those that are audited qualify for this award. So that gives you a number statewide of where you sit with your peers. This award is presented to local governments and school districts upon the completion of a financial audit that meet the following criteria defined as a clean audit report. The entity must file financial reports with the auditor of state's office by a statutory due date without extension via the Hinkle system and in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. The audit report does not contain any findings for recovery, material citations, material weaknesses, significant deficiencies, uniform guidance, findings, or other question costs. Basically, what this means is that this award represents the hard work of everybody on the Delaware County Land Reutilization Corporation.
I know.
The land bank. We'll just call it the land bank. How's that? It represents the hard work of the staff, the board, the employees, everybody who makes every effort every day to watch over all the dollars coming into the land bank. We'd especially like to point out the treasurer, Commissioner Merrill, for his hard work in getting everything put together for the audit, and for providing such timely and accurate information for our staff to go through. So on behalf of Auditor Faber, I'd like to present the Delaware County Land Bank, the Audit of State Award. And I can answer any questions if you have any.
Okay. Very good.
Here, Ollie.
You've been up before to present another Delaware County organization with that award
What was it, like
a couple weeks ago?
Yeah,
a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, I see you everywhere.
Well, it was a couple of weeks ago, and I said to the commissioner, hey, let me know next time the land bank's meeting, because when I contacted him about the award, he said, we don't have a meeting scheduled. He goes, 2 weeks from now. Okay, I'll come back. So,
Right.
but it's great to be up here, and as you know, I love the county. I will be back in a couple of weeks on a Saturday morning for the opening of the fair.
Oh,
So,
okay, all right, that starts pretty soon.
yeah.
All
So
right,
thank you
Scott.
for everything. Yeah.
Thank you. I'd like
Thank
to
you.
recognize Justin Nobby. Justin is a big part of the success of the financial statement audit, and then Karen First is really
Right.
the accountant that drives it.
Right.
And then Ray and Associates, of course, did the actual audit. But again, great teamwork, and we really appreciate it. And having accurate financial statements, believing in the numbers, having confidence in the numbers is extremely important. So we appreciate the recognition.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks,
Thanks, Scott. All right. Again, good to get some recognition for clean audit. I know people work hard on that. So next, we have guests from CEC, our new firm that we retained, I believe the actual, when did we actually sign the contract? May?
That was Meg.
Okay. And so I want to welcome Brent to the meeting. And as just kind of a quick background, Diane Gunther, of course, from the city of Delaware, had been managing the whole program for a couple of years, really, and it's just grown to be too big for one person, so we decided over the winter to have Diane stop being the only person doing it. She's gonna finish a certain portion of the grants, and we did a search and selected CEC to continue on with that work on behalf of the Land Bank, and glad to have you here today to kind of introduce yourselves and then also bring us up to date on the progress, or I know it's going slow.
No, we're making progress now. There's
Okay,
things
good.
starting up now.
Good,
It's going
good.
in a good direction.
So I'll turn it over to you, Brent, and you can
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about your firm, and then bring us up.
Yeah, not a problem. It's great to meet you two in person, Commissioner Benton,
Yeah.
Commissioner Merrill, and Commissioner Lewis. It's great to see both of you again.
Oops.
Thank you for
I'm
this.
Michelle Bonney, that's okay.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
well, you're from Orange Township, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, okay.
I probably should have
I met
introduced
you
them
at the
because
Ohio Land Banks conference.
not everybody has
Yeah.
Michelle
So-
Bonney's from Orange Township, Sandra Pereira is from Delaware City, and then Dave Stage
Like,
is from
I
the
recognized
Treasurer's
you and
Office.
not the name. That's
Yeah, I
It's
know.
okay.
We have the wrong name. I'm not even sure.
I mean, it's an honor to be
Yeah,
called that.
My
but-
name tag's right.
That's
Commissioner
pretty
Merrill switched him when he came in.
All right.
Well, thank you very much. So for those of you that don't know much about CEC, we're a full-service engineering and environmental firm based out of Pittsburgh, but we have about a 70-person office right down the road off of 23 in Worthington, Ohio. As part of our team for the county, I'm a principal with the firm in our environmental practice, and then Emily Rastorfer back here is also a project manager in our practice, and she's going to be assisting me with this. But pretty much to tell the story of where this really, we don't need to go into what CEC does. It's civil engineering, environmental work. We're really big in the brownfields, and we've actually been assisting counties for the past 3 years on implementation of the Ohio Department of Development Brownfield Remediation Program and Demolition Program. So how this opportunity came up is I was at the Ohio Land Bank Conference this year, got into a great conversation with a couple of you, and it led to this opportunity with us presenting how we've been helping counties administering the grants, not just doing the work. We understand that our contract isn't for doing the boots on the ground environmental work. It's more the administrative side to make sure that we're keeping track of budgets, communicating. This is all the stuff Diane's been doing a great job of communicating with contractors, communicating with property owners, and being like the funnel to get all the reporting into the state and then keep track of budgets. So what we've been doing so far behind the scenes is communicating extensively with Justin and with Diane to understand where the projects were from. We kind of look at this as two different parts. There's pot number one, which was the 2022 grants, which are all wrapping up right now. So there was a couple of brownfield projects that are all done, and Diane's filed everything. They're kind of off the books. And then there's the fiscal year 22 demolition projects, where again, all the projects are done. And there's an agenda item later about what's going to happen with the balance on that project, because we actually came in under budget, which is a good thing. So where we're at today is there's a number of applications. There's one demolition program application into the state. It's currently under review. We've had some communication back and forth with them. Status of Ohio Department of Development, they are understaffed. They're very busy. They're getting through all the applications as quickly as they can. But because of limitations of staff, they're kind of in this bad position of finishing off all the 2022 money and trying to close out all those projects with all the paperwork involved and review applications and make awards for the 2024 program. So I've met most of the people at ODOD. They're all really great people, and I just kind of keep giving them support to make sure they are encouraged and I'm not a part of the problem, so to say. So where we're at with the 2024 grants is, like I said, the demolition program. We had, I think, I'm looking at a spreadsheet in front of me if anybody's wondering. There was 5 different projects that we went after, 4 of them being in the city of Powell, and then 1 being at Ohio Wesleyan University. So that for the demo program, we requested $500,000, which was what the state allocated to each county. And then there was actually an additional $117,000 costs for that Ohio Wesleyan project. That is also they're also going to be, I think, putting $39,000 into it. So that is still in process, where we haven't really heard a great update from ODOD as far as we're going to hear about that in a month or 2 months. So we kind of have to put that one aside for now.
Yeah, I was curious about that that one? Because I just hadn't heard anything either.
Well, we're ODOD is with the last applications. Those ones closed on, I think, December 31st, and then the brownfield applications closed on April 1st. They're still reviewing things that were put in, oh, I'm sorry, that closed on April 1st. They're still reviewing things that were in the application periods opened in like late last year. So they're still kind of in late last year as far as the applications. They do it first come, first served to make it fair. So since the application for the demo program was put in March of 2024, I think it's just down on the list somewhere.
My understanding is that the demolition work still has to be completed by the June 30th of 25?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, that was my understanding.
Yes.
So, again, I don't think the actual demolition takes very long, but just getting
No.
through the process to set it up.
Just to kind of, I consider it by construction season too, is obviously there won't be a lot of work done once the snow starts flying, but then we have to keep in mind of keeping the projects moving along so that they're done, before the deadline. Then, so as far as sorry.
Did you say that there was still one application for the 22, 23 funding, I guess it would be, that was in development for review and approval, or did I misunderstand?
Oh, no, 2022 is done. There is something where, there's a balance on the 2022 demolition grant. So for 2022, there was $500,000. There had been projects changed under Diane where I think there was more projects added, replacement projects is what they call them. So they had extra budget. They said, well, let's sneak another project in. Well, now all the projects are done under the 22 grant. But they have told us that if we want to, and this is in order to help fund the OWU project a little bit more from the state funding, is we may be able to take one of our projects from 2024 and shift it back over to 2022 grant to use that money.
I was gonna ask about that, because I think that's what you were zeroing in on, Dave. The applications filled up the 500,000, but we came in 73,000 short when we actually submitted,
So they're saying that they might
request.
consider reprogram, or not reprogramming that, but
Yeah.
awarding that against
Yeah,
the
so
OWU project.
if we're able to take that shortfall, or that surplus, if you will, and apply it to the round two, which is Bashford and the 4 Powell properties, then
Yeah, and I think that's what we'd be able to, I think the one thing Diane sent this morning, that her understanding that the project would have to be completed by December 31st of this year. So if I check with the city of Powell and one of their projects is able to move forward this year yet, they would be able, and we could shift the funding.
be great.
And then all that does is just, we don't have to go to Ohio Wesleyan with, news that, hey, you have to pay more than we expected.
And City of Powell already has all their paperwork in, correct?
Yes.
So they wouldn't have to,
Yeah, I think everything's submitted.
they wouldn't have to amend.
just-
Yeah, it would be a paperwork exercise on our part, where we'd have to go through it. The 2022 grant would have to be extended, which there would be paperwork that needs to be signed. So that would be a revised grant agreement. But that's easy enough. We can be accomplished pretty quickly. And then, obviously, then we would have to pick which project moves over, change the budget. It's a lot of paperwork, but the only thing that would be signed was the agreement. And then I don't know how it would affect the application. I assume the application for the 2024, we'd have to amend the budget to show,
Probably.
and that's not,
You just don't know yet.
it's, well, no, I mean, it's not a big ask. It's not a lot to do. It's paperwork. I mean, when it's paperwork, what I always worry about is, we get questions on some of these grants of, do you need to go get a resolution from a board of some form of government, which, can take time. Those are the things I worry about, or just something that was blatantly missing from the applications, because we didn't do the applications, so I get the benefit. I have to answer all the questions, but I didn't prepare the application.
Sure.
But I think it's something we can definitely explore.
And to refresh my memory, is the entire OWU project subject to the 25% match?
Yeah.
It's not the entire, yeah. So what happened was it got split into two different.
It's two pieces.
Yes.
There's like 137,000 above the 500,000, so they owe 25% of that 137 is like.
I think 39,000 and some change.
or something.
Yeah. So what we'd be doing is actually just probably increasing their obligation of what they'd have to, well, actually, we'd be decreasing their match requirement, but there might be costs there's a difference in there they might have to end up paying, if they didn't, okay, let me take a step back.
Well, it seems to me like if they get to 73, that's match-free, then that reduces the amount they have to match.
Right. The issue that I was most concerned about, and I apologize for not mentioning this earlier, is that the state program is first come, first served basis. So it depends on, I don't know, they don't release where you are in the order of the 88 counties or of having these other projects that need funded. So there's $500,000 per county that every county gets no matter what, as long as they can demonstrate they have a need for it, which we did. But then that Ohio Wesleyan project was about $117,000 above that. So it falls into a different category, that match category, that then falls into this more, let's call it the competitive funding. So there was a grant release, I don't know, it was about 3 weeks ago. And I think it was, I don't know, $50–60 million that were released, and they only covered about, I think it was 12 counties. Something like that. I have to go back and look, but they already did one award under the fiscal year 2024. So what I'm worried about is what if that $117,000 doesn't get funded? That's what I was worried about. So I started inquiring with the state through Diane about, can we reallocate the 2022 extra money to our 2024 projects, and that's what we're really talking about. So there's the slight chance that if we move one of the City of Powell projects, and then we have extra money for Ohio Wesleyan's bill might still go up if we weren't awarded that last set-aside chunk. I try to explain it as best as I can, but it gets convoluted.
So, you know, I can tell you what the Treasurer's Office is most concerned about is that some of these larger counties with large staffs have these things teed up. And, I mean, that money is gone as soon as it is made available.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of rumors.
You can't compete with that under our present structure.
No, and all you can do is get the projects in. That's all we can do is get the projects in as soon as you can. I heard the same thing, and if you look at that the first awards in each program, it's Cuyahoga, Franklin,
Yeah.
Hamilton
I
County.
think Jeff mentioned it was 12 pages of them or something, just for
Yeah.
Cuyahoga. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't have the totals, but I remember it was, I think the Brownfield program, they got 26 million. I always look at it, there was a reason that there was a cap on the Brownfield remediation projects of $10 million, because there's some big projects sitting out there that really desperately need funding, and that's already lined up. So as far as our update, what we're trying to set up now is on the good news front is one of the Brownfield grants for, I'm trying to look up the address here.
The Dublin Road.
Yeah, it's the Dublin Road project. So that's an old corner store that's across the dam on Home Road. That got funded. We got the award announcement. And then right now, it's the process of having the agreement signed. So there's a grant agreement that Justin has that will need to be signed. And then it'll have to be signed by the state, but then we're ready to go. So Justin and I had a meeting with the consultant and the landowner on Friday just to kick things off. And essentially what we're here to do is to make sure under the grant programs that all the disbursement requests are going to the state. We're keeping accurate budget records. We're keeping track of all the paperwork that needs to go in with the draw requests, as well as quarterly and final reports on the grants, and kind of be in the information funnel with, of course, the county copied every step of the way, just to take that pressure off.
So the Lehman property then is good to go.
I'm sorry, what name?
The Lehman property then is good to go.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the home road.
Yep.
I call it Lehman property, I don't know what else to call it. So,
Yeah, I think that one's
Yeah.
just ready to start the work.
And then you sent me an email.
Yeah,
Commissioner Benton,
just a few minutes
Yeah,
ago.
about, yeah, at 1:15, that there's the other brownfield project. Well, there's two other brownfield projects. So the second one, which was US Highway 23, it's a underground storage tank
That's a
assessment.
County property.
Yeah. Okay, it's a county property. That one is, there's just a couple of questions, and I didn't see any real issue. They're gonna need a letter from the city supporting the project, a letter of support, and then they need a budget table update. So as far as answering the questions go, that's an easy one. So
Okay.
they want a response by mid-September. That'll be something I can get done in the next week or two.
Sandra, we may need a letter from you
I can do that.
supporting that.
yeah, we're with you, dude.
Let me type it up real quick.
So,
I'm just making a quick note. So, I guess, is there any questions that you have about us? I didn't really give a great coverage of what we do, but,
Yeah, while we're on the brownfield, there is a third application, which
Mhm.
was our property over
the
at
Channing
Homeport.
Street.
Yeah, Channing Street,
Mhm.
not Homeport property, but Channing Street. Have you got any feedback on that one yet?
I have not, but I think it's good news that what I do is I track these by when the application went in, because they literally review applications in the order they're received, so they're going right down a list. So the one that we received comments on today was submitted March 18th, which is really good because I've been seeing dates back in January or December of when I'm getting questions on because Emily and I work on for a number of different counties on a number of different projects. So we have our own assessments coming up. So we're eagerly tracking this, waiting to hear back on these projects. So seeing an application with comments from March 18th shows that they're getting through the county, at least the set-aside portion. So I would expect to hear back hopefully within a month on that. And I think they're trying to prioritize as much as they can.
Brent, have you gotten any kind of indication of the 88 county $500,000 allocations? How much, if any, of that's going to be unawarded and available on a first-come, first-served basis?
I have not heard
No.
at all. And in fact, ODOD, it's funny, as like when you talk to their project managers, who are mostly who we deal with, they're told what to say. Like, I don't have any information right now, we're getting through the applications as quick as possible. And then you go one step up from that, you kind of get the same and you maybe get a little bit more, but they don't release. I think they're just to take the pressure off themselves, they're very careful about not releasing specific numbers. I wish we would know that there's a lot left, but I assume that both programs are gonna be oversubscribed, is what I'm assuming.
Well, but
Oversubscribed in total, but I think Dave's
Yeah,
point is,
I
a
mean,
lot of the counties didn't use their 500.
there's $44 million of county-specific allocations sitting out there. And I have to believe that 50% of the counties in the state didn't use all of their 500,000
Right.
or any of it. So you haven't gotten any indication from them yet where that might
No, I
be.
wish they would give that information, because the other thing that I was under the assumption they were gonna cover the county set-asides first, and then look at awarding the extra pot of money. But if you look at those awards that, especially the one Cuyahoga County got, they got tens of millions of dollars for hundreds of properties that are not part of their 500,000.
They haven't matched.
So I know the first thing that they were doing was trying to figure out how much they had of that set-aside dollar that could be reallocated. So I think they know that, they just haven't told
They're not
us.
sharing.
Are the big counties gonna get more than their fair share, or, 'cause that's all a matter of perspective, I guess?
See, that's where we'll see how
Yes,
transparent
always.
it is at the end of the day. That's what I would love to see. I've shared that with a lot of people. It would be great to just see a simple spreadsheet where you could sort it by application, county and date, and kind of rank them and see an award date and figure out, was it truly transparent? It's gotta be. They have guidelines like we all have to follow, but
Would it, as a strategy, would it be helpful to Delaware County and, local governments to go ahead and get some more applications submitted and approved, just anticipation that there may be money freed up?
well, that's
Because still, they're gonna go in the same hopper with everybody else, it's gonna be first come, first served, but at least if we get them on the list, I'm thinking of Liberty Township. for example.
My understanding is they aren't even taking applications at this
At
point.
all.
they're not right now. No.
Yeah.
So
No.
they may know they have money available, but they're not gonna tell anybody about it.
Right.
I can guarantee you Cuyahoga knows how much it is.
But today's point,
Probably right.
we'd need to have that ready so we could turn it in as soon
Well, I
as you
think we
can
should.
turn it in, so you'll be at the front of the
Yeah.
line.
Let them, turn it in now and let them tell us, well, we have.
Well, or
we can't
have
do
it ready to
anything
turn
with it.
in.
Well, another option would be are these demolition projects or are they brownfield projects?
Demolition.
See, demolition, we do have that 72,000 and some change left over from 2022.
No, that's already, OLU, probably the cleanest way to deal with
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
that, I think the stage
I
is
think we
set.
probably already made some
Yep.
commitments to them, or at least some representations to them that
I mean, they've been submitted, mean, they haven't been given any indication that they're gonna get that 72,000. At least I haven't told them.
Right.
So,
You know, I just can't help but feel if maybe we have some that we know about, that we could get teed up somehow so that when they start considering any under-programmed allocations, the 500,000,
Right.
you know, that we at least have something there to compete for some of the money.
yeah, I think the only one I know about, all honesty, Dave, is just the Liberty Township.
But
And
it's.
that's 150-some thousand. I've got that on the agenda for later.
$50,000, yeah.
And it's
They
ready to go.
have-
Brent,
I
you
think-
and I talked about that. The
Mhm.
Liberty Township's got the application.
Yeah, Jeff, don't they have the paperwork finished or at least
Yeah.
ready to be reviewed?
Yeah, actually, Brent, I forwarded it to Brent took a look at it
Okay.
and said basically, looks ready.
It's just, is there gonna be funding was the
Yeah,
question.
right.
Yeah, so we would have that one available. Then the Brownfield program's a different story. That's
Right.
one where fiscal year '25, still don't know from ODOD when that application period's gonna open. I assume it's gonna be around December 1st, much like the '24 year was last year, but that's just an assumption. They need to get through their workload first. And that one, I think, one of the consultants that was helping with the original applications and actually implementing some of these projects has one, if not two, applications ready, like basically ready to go for fiscal year '25. So we're in good position for that one, but there's no set aside that year.
Yeah. On that, we have basically 3 known projects and a 4th possible project. One is the Ashley gas station, and the gentleman came and presented last time. And then we've got 2 properties on the east side of Delaware, Jeff Pates, I think is how you say his name.
Yeah, Pates.
Presented again, and so,
And the old engineers campus.
yeah,
Correct.
yeah. And so those are known and being worked on and presumably will be ready, but again, it looks like it's gonna be December, and we're not hearing anything. Now, the 4th one, which is a real unknown at this point, but a possibility, is Beagley Library on Wesleyan's campus. They had to shut it down, well, about a year ago, right before the students came back, they shut down the main library. And that caused some stress, as you can imagine, but they had some mold in the books and in the facility, so they shut it down, and now they haven't decided what they're gonna do, and that's the challenge. They may knock it down, they may remediate it, and if they remediate it, it could be, applicable to be a brownfield.
It's on the historic
Project.
bridge.
But they've got to decide where they're going with it. And I know they're working on it, but that's a huge project because they're talking about the whole campus area, not just that one building, kind
Is
of
that
incorporating
building on
the
the
whole.
historic register?
What?
That building on the historic register?
I don't know, no, that's a 1960s building. Yeah. So anyway, that's the 4th one. We got the other 3 kind of semi-teed up, and we just need to, make sure that the people involved move their paperwork forward as the
Right.
deadline approaches. And they're pros at it, so they should be able to do it.
Yeah, and that's what we're here for, is we're here also to assist with any other applications that come up and kind of, however we migrate through the state programs. Because the hope is, with at least the brownfield funding, is they have a House bill out right now to have it permanently funded. And that
Oh,
probably.
really?
Yes.
Oh,
I
okay.
can't remember the number, but I have a webinar. I'll keep everyone in the land bank updated on it. There's a webinar that the Great Ohio Policy Center is putting on a week or 2 from now. And it just really what happened was it's the excess. So everybody know what Jobs Ohio is, the private arm of Ohio Development. So they get all the liquor money from liquor taxes. And then every year they've got to pay the surplus back because they're a nonprofit. So usually that's about $75 to $100 million a year that ends up coming back to the state. So what the legislation is to take that money that Jobs Ohio pays back and permanently fund a brownfield program, which we run much like the original Clean Ohio program was. So not too different from the program now. It would just be highly competitive. There'd be application periods once per year, and obviously it's a smaller pot of money, but it would be something that could be through the Ohio legislature permanently funded, which is fantastic.
This
Yeah.
session?
No, I think what they did is really, it's like they got it in now to get on debate, and then it'll get kicked to next year, because then it's also thinking of the fiscal year 25 program. They don't even have applications open. That money's already allocated, so it'd probably be a next year type announcement with next year's sessions.
Okay, okay. Well, good. And one, just kind of FYI, one of the things we're thinking about is, possibly setting up a, Delaware County demolition grant program. And I don't want to recreate the wheels, so my thinking at this point, again, it's very preliminary, would be, we just mirror what ODOD does. We use some of the DTAC money that we get as a land bank and help fund some local demolition projects. But I think we're kind of on hold to see what the state does with our 73,000, and then if there's any round 2 replacement or whatever with the demolition.
Well, and it's certainly something to look forward to, start planning now, because then once the folks at ODOD get through the demo applications, hopefully some of their personnel would be available to help. Like, we'd have to figure out how to not just administer it, but make it part of the county. I don't know if you'd call it a law per se, but how do you enact it? That's where I'm not a government person, I just work for governments, so when it comes to the inner workings, I have a little bit of a loss there, but we're certainly ready to help administer a program with application review, scoring, and whatnot.
Yeah, and we would look to you to guide us through that, because we don't want to become experts in your expertise, because we're just not that good at it.
Well, that would be a new one for me, but I know enough about the programs, like, yes, we can do that, but that'll be a new one. I like fun challenges like that,
Yeah.
especially when it's for something like, everything I do, I'm a brownfields professional, I'm a VAP certified professional, been in the industry for over 25 years, and that's the most rewarding part, is when you're actually realizing brownfield redevelopment, because of, it's, a lot of it's the past industry, the way our society operated and treated land. We didn't know better, but it's great to make it reusable and revitalize, especially downtown areas.
Well, again, Brent, thank you for coming today.
Can I just make for the benefit of the board, could you make sure we all get your contact information in case we have a question, so we
Yes.
not screwing around, email, number you prefer to get contacted at, et cetera?
Yes. Yeah, I can certainly do that.
And there just went your realization,
My what?
your profit. Now we'll all call you and talk to you.
Well, no, one thing is, like, that's one of my, I've just a little more history of myself. Well, I've been in the business for 25 years. I was with a Columbus local firm for 18 years, and I just didn't have a great opportunity for growing my own practice, because consultancies are like, you kind of grow your practice within a company, and we're awarded, we have the greater company to help us implement everything. So I joined CEC about 7 years ago, because they gave me the opportunity of, hey, we need somebody's retiring, we need somebody to grow this practice, the brownfields practice that I do. And they've rewarded me with this great opportunity to grow things. But one thing I'm trying to do is grow my practice in Central Ohio. I grew up northwest Columbus. As far as Delaware County, we live just over the county line off of, it's just south of Powell. So we go to the Powell. I was at the Powell pool yesterday, so I know Powell very well. I know Delaware very well. And the funny thing is my 7 years at CEC, I've been working in Cleveland, I've been working in Eastern Ohio, I've been working in other places, and I just appreciate the opportunity to finally do something close to home.
Yeah,
So this is something that, like, when you talk about realization, for me, I don't really see it as that, fortunately, with clients like this, because the more relationships I make with you to help you with the county's initiatives and the city's initiatives, as I get to know the city of Delaware, it's the better for everyone, and that'll lead to eventual projects, which leads to eventual success. So I see it as a really positive thing.
Now, Jeff kind of jumped a couple of items on the agendas, but since he did, are you aware of any counties our size, let's say counties 275 and smaller, 275,000 in population and smaller, that have their own self-funded programs like this?
I am not aware, and I think that would be a great question for the Ohio Land Bank Association to see, since the land bank's doing everything, their land banks are doing just about everything with these programs across the state. So that's something we can certainly look into for you, or help look into.
Yeah.
Because I saw that the fall summit was on,
Yeah,
On the
Fall
agenda,
Summit's on
too.
the agenda, so I imagine there'll be some of us that'll go, but.
There'll be probably several of us there. I'm
yeah, and that's on it's October 8th, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
trying to like it.
Yeah, I think I can be there. I'll probably be there as well.
Right around the early voting.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so your schedule will be a little tight out there, Dave.
Well, I'll make it. It's only a half day.
Okay, any other questions?
I have Brent's contact information. I'll just send to you guys.
Okay.
Since I have a reply, I'll let
Oh,
you know.
that's right, you can get the contact.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Jeff, you have it as well. And
Yep.
I have a couple business cards if anybody wants a business card, and we'll stick around for after session in case anybody has any follow-up questions, and I can chat with Justin.
Yeah, yeah. Emily, you've been awfully chatty so far. Any other comments, or Brent's covered it? Okay. All right,
I talk a lot, right?
well, thank you. I know you work for us as well, so appreciate it. Okay,
Well, thank you very much.
thanks. We'll keep going on the agenda. We've covered a lot of it, actually. Demolition and brownfield grant update from Diane. We really covered that as we went through round one replacement demo, round two demo, round one. Brownfield is completely done. Sunny V, interestingly, a little footnote to Sunny V. Sunny V's brownfield work and demolition work is all done.
Wow.
But the couple that bought it at the sheriff's sale has sold it to another individual. I don't know the gentleman, but another individual bought it and is now, I've been by there a number of times. He's actually renovating it, and you know, it's moving along. It's doing exactly what we wanted it to do. They're going to turn it into a very nice home. And he's the guy that owns the property catty corner, just across the intersection. He's the one that bought that old fraternity house.
Is there any prohibition against that?
Selling it?
Yeah, selling it while it's subject to a demolition?
Yeah, because our work was done.
Okay.
So they were the owners, and they had started to do the
They
renovation,
complete
the
the
interior.
project we funded, so.
Yeah, but again, if we hadn't done that, that property would
I'm sorry.
still be sitting empty probably. You know, if we hadn't, gotten the grant money for the brownfield and something.
It'll still be residential.
That's my understanding is, I don't know, Scott, do you know anything? You live
I don't know anything more. I think that's in the city's wheelhouse
Sandra,
now.
do you know
so-
anything?
We haven't heard anything. We are updating our code though to make some of those properties a little bit more flexible. You know, maybe it doesn't make sense for it to be a one family residential structure, so there will definitely be a lot more options than currently exist,
Yeah.
for the use of that property. We're
And
excited.
they're working on it. Every time I drive by, they're busy. It's great. So that's kind of it. And brownfield, we've talked about, so there's really not a whole lot else, other than, I do need to get authorization to release $100,516.09 grant reimbursement to the Scioto Township and the city of Powell.
They met all their reporting and documentation requirements.
And we just haven't received the funds from ODOD, so when we receive the funds from ODOD, we'll forward it on
Authorizing
to
you to
Scioto
authorize
Township and the city of
disbursement
Powell.
or pass-through. So moved.
Okay.
Second.
All right, again, the resolution needs to read that the funds will be released when they're furnished, when we receive them from the ODOD. Any other comments, questions? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign? All right, that motion carries. Number 9 is really forming the county land bank demolition grant program. We've talked about that, and I think honestly, I think it's a really good idea we need to pursue, but we'll kind of wait and see how, the state reacts to the ODOD reacts to the funding opportunities, if we have any there.
So is that something this board would oversee, or is that a separate,
I'm sorry, what?
is this program something that this
I
group would
think,
oversee?
yeah,
or-
yeah.
Okay.
I think it would be, and again, I think Dave suggested originally was, we do have DTEC money, comes in every year. And, at this point, what is the land bank doing with that money?
Mhm.
And right now, we've got 200 and some thousand in the bank, and if we have purpose, again, the purpose is to make properties, improve properties here in Delaware County that are run down. And, we can take some of that money, and if we all of a sudden discover we have a whole bunch of properties that need more than that, there's a chance we could do, the DTEC money could be upped.
Okay.
We could get more DTEC money. But, so again, I think it's a good opportunity. I wouldn't want us to get in the brownfield business. I don't think we want to set up a brownfield program. But demolition, I think, would make a lot of sense, and we can work on it. But again, I think we've got to wait, because DOD still has this pot of money that we just don't know what they're gonna do.
I think there's a lot of good sound reasons to do it.
The what I'm saying?
A lot of sound reasons to do it.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Gets money back in the community if
Yeah,
nothing else.
exactly, and that's what it's for. That's our mission. So we'll hold off on that for now. We do have, fall, as we mentioned before, the fall OLBA, Ohio Land Bank Association Summit. And the flyer was in the material that was handed out. So I didn't know if anybody has decided if they're going or not, but I think registration is open now. So we need to approve, if you're attending, we need to approve it. I can't go, I have a conflict that date, but I don't know if anybody else has
Well, I'm planning to attend.
planned to go. Sandra, you interested in going?
No, I won't be able to.
Not be able to, Gary?
I don't know, I have to, what was the date?
October 3rd, it looks like on
October
the,
3rd?
Say again?
October 3rd, I think.
October 3rd?
Yeah, October 3rd. It's in Mount Vernon, so it's not real far away.
Closer than last time.
Yeah.
I potentially could go.
I don't think we have to decide today, but I think
Will we have a meeting before that date as far as authorizing the cost?
maybe not.
Do we-
I guess maybe we could, I would ask the board to authorize maybe $5,000 for board members who want to attend. That
Probably won't.
Gosh, we don't need $5,000.
Is it an overnight?
I think it's just a day
It's just a
event.
day, Gary.
Yeah.
So really 5,000 is probably way more than
Yeah,
we need.
yeah, probably.
What the registration will be.
The mileage is $100 and some and,
Yeah.
the registration
So
fee.
maybe 3,000, authorize 3,000 for board members to attend?
I will not be able to go this time.
You got a conflict,
Mhm.
okay. So it may be 2 people.
What's that?
It may just be 2 people.
Apologize.
Well, I'm definitely gonna go, and I'd be more than happy to
Well-
share whatever I learn, get,
Yeah.
whatever. And if you have a list of issues that you want brought up, make sure I have them to take with me.
Right.
I'll make a motion for $3,000 for, up to $3,000 for any board members who choose to go.
Okay,
I'll
And
second.
come total, not individually.
yeah.
Since I'm
Good.
ready to apply. I'll-
Second from Michelle. Did you get that, Brandy?
Yep.
Okay, so we've authorized, or the resolution is to authorize $3,000 for any board members who want to attend, cover their registration, transportation costs. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Do you get a
Aye.
second?
Opposed? Okay,
And next year's is in Columbus, the big
Oh,
one.
it is?
Yes.
that's even better.
Mhm.
Okay, next on the agenda is,
In conjunction with the Land Bank Association, I guess you all saw where Gus Frango's passed.
I didn't, did you know him? I didn't know him.
Yeah, he was the Mr. Land Bank in Ohio forever.
Oh, was he one of the co-authors of that book?
Yes.
Oh, okay, that's where I know that name.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Gus
Yeah.
Frankus. Well, yeah, again, very, very dynamic person in creating this land bank, which has really helped, land bank legislation, which has really helped a lot of areas of the state. So that's unfortunate. Number 11 is the status of the undrawn funds, 73,000. We've talked about that. We just really don't know at this point. Number 12 is a discussion of 5786 Henderson Drive. I got a call from a woman, Susan Hartzler was her name, and she lives next door to a property that has, a woman was in it, and I sent around a parcel snapshot in the board package, that kind of gives the background on it. The woman's name that lived there was Sharon Floyd. It's 5786 Henderson Drive. The 5816 on the agenda is actually Sarah Hartzler's address. That's why I got it confused. But this woman apparently passed away in 2017, and the house has been sitting empty. Apparently she had no heirs, no estate's been processed, so it's just in limbo. The mail comes back, property's become pretty dilapidated, it's an eyesore and run down.
About $11,000 into.
Yeah, there's, like, numbers right here, yeah, $10,899 in back due taxes, it's about $1,500 a year, so that would roughly coincide with when she deceased, and apparently the taxes stopped being paid. So, anyway, I just bring it forward because I think this is a good example of the way a land bank can help by asking the treasurer to initiate a tax foreclosure on this property, because this property will definitely be worth a lot more than $11,000. I mean, it's in a nice street, and the existing house, the house may be salvageable, may not be, but so if we could, I just don't know how else to go about it.
Well, Jeff, I spoke with Treasurer Ranke about this again this morning, just to make sure that there was no miscommunication. And apparently there may be errors, but the attorneys here will have to help me out with this. They've never filed anything to settle the estate.
That's my understanding, yeah.
So, given that the house isn't occupied, I checked with staff in the treasurer's office. It's not on the list of properties that the asset recovery firm that the treasurer's office uses. So no one's acquired those tax certificates.
Tax liens haven't been.
So he's ready to move ahead with foreclosure if we ask him to do that. So I'll go ahead and say, yeah, let's go ahead and do this.
Yeah, there again, I don't enjoy doing tax foreclosures, but if it can resolve a problem property, and this is just one of those really unusual situations where there's just nobody, you know, that has.
Nobody's taking any responsibility
Right.
for it, and it's
Right.
not going to.
Do we need a formal resolution,
I
or?
don't think so.
I don't think so. I think
Okay.
I just wanted to get a sense of the board, a sense of the
Yeah,
board.
everybody
Yes, let's do
okay
it,
with
then I'll
Yep,
get
makes
started.
sense, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, very good, Dave, thank you. Well, I got a couple more items under other business, but the last item in the package is the Welcome Home Ohio program. I've done a lot of work in the background on this. It's a program that was started, funded by the state. It's done through the Ohio Department of Development. They basically have three subsets of the program, and I first heard about it when I went to one of the conferences, and you know, the general reaction was that it's probably a good idea, but the restrictions on it make it pretty unusable in a lot of places, and so we didn't really pursue it. And then, and there's three components to it: outright purchase of affordable housing. It's targeted low affordable housing. Construction or rehab, and then tax credits. The first two are pretty well done, and again, the restrictions are really hard to fit into Delaware County because there's income restrictions, there's housing value restrictions, but the program that might have some applicability is the third one, the tax credits. But even then, the challenge there is the tax credits stay with the property and have to be paid back if the property is sold or rented or other restrictions. So anyway, I made a copy of an email I got from Bruce Lukey, and some of you probably know Bruce, but Bruce is a past colleague of mine at Bank One, but he used to run Homeport, which is the affordable housing agency based in Columbus, and they do a lot of work in central Ohio. And so he's a real expert at this. And I asked Bruce to take a look at it. He said again, kind of the problem with the existing program is you basically have to work through an organization like HomePort or Habitat for Humanity, because they have tracking places, they have tracking mechanisms in place to track the ownership and make sure that the buyers are still qualified and that the house is occupied by the original owners. There's just a lot of restrictions in it. So when the ODOD came out with a list of the grants that they awarded through this program, there were a lot of them that were Habitat for Humanity partners in the various counties. And it has to be done through a land bank, so we have to be the lead on it. But we can partner with Habitat, we can partner with HomePort or whomever. And, but anyway, Bruce did a lot of research, talked to some developers. I've talked to Chris Baker, who runs the foundation, who's running the Housing Alliance. And he kind of had the, the home can't sell for more than $180,000 in Delaware County. That's not, you're not going to get many houses like that. And just a lot of the tracking and income qualifications, they have to be below 80% of the AMI. It just made it difficult. Anyway, Chris is interested if we can partner maybe with Habitat in particular. So I don't think HomePort is particularly a good target partner, but Habitat really might be. I got a call into Todd Miller, who runs Habitat locally. He's interested in it. He had heard of this kind of third hand, knew a little bit about it, but he talked to his counterparts in Mount Vernon, in Knox County, who was very active and got a big grant in the ODOD program. And so anyway, that's where it stands right now. Bruce is kind of saying, it probably doesn't make sense other than maybe working with a Habitat or HomePort. And so I've kind of teed it up with Todd Miller at Habitat to see if they might be interested in doing the tax credit side of, some tax credit deals, because it would help. There's a limit to the tax credits. I think it's $30,000, but, no, it's $90,000, I think. But again, it has to be tracked and you have to pay it back if you don't follow all the qualifications and so on. So I just wanted to bring it up to let you know I've done some research. There may be an opportunity to partner with Habitat, but at this point, not really sure. So I'm interested in people's thoughts. Any other recommendations or?
Well, you didn't sell me with your comments, so, so I just say, I guess, need more information, but.
Yeah, and that's kind of where we are. I talked to Todd last week. He's definitely interested. He's looking into it. Whether it has any legs or not, I don't know at this point. There is a deadline of June of 25, as I understand, to get these credits in place. There is a market for tax credits with developers, but the developers don't want to do the tracking and the mortgage, and the income qualification and all that stuff. And so they partner with firms like Habitat, and they'll buy them, but they'll discount it. I mean, tax credits get discounted, and they will buy them if somebody like Habitat's running it. So anyway, I don't know if anybody had any other thoughts. I'd definitely be interested if somebody's got any other ideas, because
So
it
why
could
would
be
it-
something.
Habitat would buy the tax credits at a discounted rate and then resell them.
Well, I think the way that the tax credits work, we did this at Ohio Wesleyan on a project there, was Ohio Wesleyan is a nonprofit, obviously. They rehabbed a product. They got a tax credit from the state. Well, Ohio Wesleyan turned around and sold that tax credit to a developer for about 85 cents on the dollar, and helped fund, the renovation of Stuyvesant, actually, was the project we did. And I think it's the same thing. Habitat goes out and buys a property or builds a property. They can sell those tax credits, get, 85 cents on the dollar, maybe less, maybe more. And then the developer uses that to shelter some of their income. They don't pay taxes on it.
And
And
Habitat would use that to fund the housing that they build.
the what?
Habitat would use that to fund the housing that they build.
Yes, right. And individuals can't apply for this. It has to be agencies like Habitat, and the land bank has to be the lead. So, again, I'll keep working with Todd and Chris Baker if he happens to come up with some other names, or maybe even Bruce.
And does this have the same 180,000?
Yes.
Where are you gonna find?
I know, and it's gotta be a minimum of 1,000 square feet, and they have to stay in it for 5 years, and the people who buy it subsequently have to be AMI qualified. I mean, again, it gets tricky.
Well, in some of these programs, and of course, I'm pretty conservative philosophically, you just add layers and layers of cost and bureaucracy, and that's what's wrong with our country right now. We have so much.
Well, and Gary, I think the reality is, I don't know if a property like that in Delaware County exists.
Well,
Yeah.
that's even another point, but philosophically, I'm talking about.
Yeah. So I'll keep working with Todd, and if we need to do any actions in the future, I'll obviously reach out to the Land Bank Board, and we'll get a meeting called if we need some action. Last couple items under other business, I have 2 items. One is, actually, we've already mentioned it, Liberty Township is interested in, and has prepared, working with Brent, has prepared an application for a demolition grant through the ODOD. I just want to make sure everybody knew about that. We've got it teed up, ready to go. So depending on how DOD and the demolition grant funds go forward, we may be able to get that funded. The last item I had was, I got our Director of Communications to do a proclamation for Diane. Because Diane has just been a hero through this whole process. And just thanking her, basically, I won't read it, it's a little bit longer, but just thanking her for all her work on projects throughout the county, Wesleyan, the city of Sunbury, city of Delaware, city of Powell, Scioto Township, Genoa Township, Sunny V, the auto parts lot, Sunbury Square, Genoa Township Police Department. And so I just wanted to have everybody sign it if you're okay with it. We actually need to do a resolution, but have everybody sign it if we do the resolution. And I'll maybe sign her, you can get it to Diane?
Absolutely.
I know she's not in on every day.
No, she's not, but yeah, I'll make sure she gets
Okay.
it.
So anyway, I would ask for a resolution. I thought about getting her a gift card, but then you get into, well, it's gotta be 1099, and it's gotta be,
I think that's a great idea.
so,
Well, I move that we approve the proclamation for Diane Gunther, to say thank you for all her help
yeah.
with the land bank.
Second.
Okay, Dave, second. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Well, again, Diane is winding down. She's just cleaning up the last couple projects, so she's not going to be doing much work in the coming months, but again, I just wanted to thank her for all she did. That's all I had. Other topics?
No.
Commissioner, I had
Yeah,
two,
Scott, sure.
real briefly, Justin Navi sent out a brownfield agreement for the entire board to review, as he noted that this is for the Dublin Road, the home road, the Laner properties, Mr. Stage referred to it. That project has already been approved, but Mr. Navi sent this out to keep everyone apprised. It's a proposed brownfield agreement between the county land bank and Ohio DOD. I reviewed it and don't have any objections or comments to it. It's very similar to the prior agreements that have been entered into. It's whether the board wishes to, approve it over and above what you've already approved. I don't know that it's necessary, but I just wanted to let you know I reviewed it and don't have any objection to it. But I think it will need your signature on it.
We don't need board action though at this point.
Well, I don't believe so, since you've already approved the grant application.
Okay.
And I think you authorized, or the board authorized you, or perhaps even the vice chair, to
Yeah.
sign any and all necessary agreements
Okay.
to pursue that application, and this
Okay.
would be a part of it, I would consider.
Okay.
So that's the first thing. And the second thing, just to educate the board a little bit, this property on Henderson Road, or Henderson Drive, just so you know, even though heirs don't step up and do anything with a particular property like this, it's possible for individuals that have no relation to this decedent or even counsel, they can basically open up an estate for a deceased property like that. So one option is the tax foreclosure. Obviously, that comes with its own costs and time delays and all of that. Second options, I'm not telling you this because the land bank should take that action, but it's possible that these kind of orphan properties that linger out there, there's a process that council can simply go and get a fiduciary of some sorts applied, and they can administer the estate to get these properties sold and get them back. You know, I suspect someone on that street might be interested, or some other property
So
owner,
you
just given
said
the
council
proximity.
could do that?
I mean, an attorney can do it. Individuals, with the help of an attorney, can bring the property to the attention of a court and say, hey, I have no affiliation with this estate, but we're gonna notify all these heirs that Mr. Stage, and I'm sure there are heirs somewhere.
Yeah.
And people can be appointed to take care of those properties. So I just wanted to let you know that there are other methods, but somebody has to become aware of the property, the first thing, and then some attorney generally is involved to try to get this property back into,
Okay.
the open market.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's good
Yeah.
to know.
So
So
just,
Ms. Hertzler could engage counsel, notify whatever heirs might exist,
yes.
and open up an estate to acquire this property through the estate.
Well, I probably she would not be eligible to acquire it, is my guess.
Then somebody else would need.
Right, because there would, any transaction that would occur would have to be approved by the probate court, and it's obviously not encouraged to do some type of self-dealing type of transaction, so it would, if she would have interest, if somebody else stepped up and did it, then it could be listed just as any other property on the free, on the open market, and then if that person or anybody else came and who was the highest bidder.
Could we do that?
I don't know. I've never thought about this as the first property. I don't know. I mean, we could think about doing that as a way to avoid a tax foreclosure type of procedure. I don't know if there would be something about it gives me a little pause about, potential either actual or maybe just perceived conflicts
The
in
thing
some
is,
way,
with
shape, or
the
form.
sheriff's sale, it's all public and everybody knows what's happening.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah. I mean, clearly that,
Yeah, and then that's
Process.
quote unquote, that's all above board. You're not gonna have
Right.
any accusations of persons doing this or that. So there's certainly no problem with that, but I just wanted to make you aware of these
interesting. I didn't-
these
Yeah, I
properties
think-
that,
I'd hate to see us get involved in that. 'Cause then
A
the next-
perception's
Somebody's
important.
gonna say, well, you're trying to help out
right,
somebody.
Right.
So,
I agree.
Yeah.
so,
Okay, good enough.
no,
Okay, that it, Scott, then?
that's all I had, yes.
Okay, great. Okay, well, we won't set a meeting for the next, we won't set a date for the next meeting, just because everything's just kind of still up in the air with a number of things, but I think that's it.
All right.
Anything else?
Nope.
We stand adjourned.